Hello world, molweni lizwe, igama lam ndinguSiyavuya Gqumehlo, and welcome again. So on this channel we talk about psychological issues, we're talking about psychological health, mental problems, and mental solutions. And I am your big sister or little sister on the internet who can help you and share what I know, and you guys can share what you know on the comment section because I would love to know as well. So today this topic today is going to be about how to speak to girls about sex and dating. And I'm talking to the parents, okay? As a parent, how do you speak, or a guardian, how do you speak to girls about sex and dating when they are young? So they can be at 10 years old, 9 years old, before 18, or maybe even like after 18. It's still a thing that must happen. And I feel like it's so unfortunate that some people are very afraid or intimidated to talk to their parents about dating or sex, and they feel like they're doing something wrong, or they feel like they should be embarrassed. They don't know how to come clean to their parents when they are pregnant and stuff like that. So let's just break it, okay? It should be more than okay. It should be very, very comfortable for us women or us mothers. Well, I'm not a mom, but like I can be your internet mother. So how do you speak about sex to girls? First of all, sex is it's a biological need that people have. We all have it. Men have it. And girls have it. Now, when it comes to, because sex is very vast, okay? It's not just a narrow thing. But I'm going to look right now, and I'll probably put it on the screen, like when it comes to the sex drive for both sexes, sex drive for boys. So it has been said scientifically that, from adolescent to the age of 40, the boy's sex drive or the man's sex drive is very high. But because there's a risk of pregnancy from adolescent until 40, or up to 40, or even beyond 40 just a little bit, the sex drive for women is very low. Now there are exceptions, all right? Doesn't mean that this is true for everyone. I'm not talking about everyone, but I'm talking about the vast majority. For boys, when they are younger, it's high. For girls, it's a little bit low, right? Because of the risk of pregnancy, and because women are receivers, biologically, so the risk for diseases and infections is very strong for them, other than boys. So after that age, after when women hit menopause, and menopause is when a woman stops menstruating, so there's no risk of pregnancy. Nature will allow women to actually explore their sexuality. So the sex drive tends to pick up after 40. It slowly picks up. That's why you would hear that actually kukundos or Ben 10, Ben 10, and they get with older women, because the sex drive, it complements one another. Or younger women with older men, their sex drive complements one another. I know this is not for everyone, but it's for the vast majority, okay? And because of that, we're gonna have to face sex, whether we talk about it at home or we don't talk about it at home, because the hormones, they will come, they will manifest, and the interest for sex will pick up, right? And it is better for one to be prepared when that happens, okay? So for parents, it is important, because I know for black parents, they will scold their children like, you're gonna get pregnant and I'm not gonna look after your child. Like, it becomes a fight, and it doesn't become this normal conversation, where we normalize talking about our biological need, or our biological wants, or our biological desires, what our body wants and why. Because we came into this world through sex. Our parents had to have sex. Now, I'm not talking about medical advances where you have to go to a sperm bank, or you have to be artificially inseminated. Those are rare situations. I'm talking about, like, the natural way of conceiving children. That's through sex, which is why it's important for young boys and for young girls to understand that when you hit menstruation, you are able to you are able to produce children. So how so we are wired biologically to be attracted to the opposite sex, right? You're going to be attracted to boys and boys are going to be attracted to the girls. It's natural and it's normal, okay? So yeah, I know that there are situations where boys like boys and girls like girls, but that is not the conversation for today. The context is boys attracted to girls, but we can touch that on a little bit more. So before, I feel like you need to be prepared to know sex, yes, is good. Sex, yes, is enjoyable, but we also need to know, because it's a double-edged sword. We need to know about the dangers of sex. We need to know about the dangers of sex from for boys, and we need to know about the dangers of sex for girls, right? Now, sex is more dangerous for girls than it is for boys because of the risk of pregnancy and the risk of diseases and infections, because women catch diseases and infections faster because they are receivers biologically. So sex is more dangerous for women than it is for men. And because it's a life and a death thing for girls, because if you are pregnant, you can get a miscarriage where you lose a baby, where it bleeds out of you and you can die if you don't get assistance, medical assistance. That can happen. And it has happened. So women have died giving birth. So it is biologically, it is very, very dangerous. I know there are some guys or boys or people that are just so naive, or they don't want to admit how dangerous it is for women, what risk women are putting themselves in, because oh no, now there are condoms. Just because there are condoms does not mean that people should not be responsible, that the pregnancy responsibility now only lies to the women. No, even boys, they need to, or men, let's say, they need to also understand and be actually responsible, and not just say, you know what, I'm just gonna kick it and quit it. They need to be responsible and see the risk. Condoms breaks, and they're not 100%. Condoms, they can actually slide off the men's genitals and get stuck in the woman's internal genitals, and it can end up. I've seen those situations where women have to be hospitalized, and so forth. So as much as there are precautions or preventatives, but there's still danger in them. Now, the dangers of contraceptions, the pills, the injections, there is a risk of cancer. Ingesting those things or putting those things in your bloodstreams, it's not safe. And the people that are doing it, majority of the time, it is the girls that are risking their lives for that. So it is still dangerous, even if when they are having to ingest contraceptions, it's still dangerous for them. And with that, some women will experience weight problems. Others will gain weight rapidly. Others will lose shape. Others will actually get skinny, very, very, very skinny. I know women that have put that needle for contraceptions, that one that lasts for 5 years. Within 2 years, she's a skeleton and she can't gain weight back. So those things are very, very dangerous. That's why I'm saying sex tends to be, or it is actually more dangerous for women than it is for men, because it's a matter of life and death. It just is. And if we're gonna be discussing sex with women, we need to actually show them, not attack them, as parents or as guardians, to actually show, okay, yes, sex is good, sex is enjoyable, sex is pleasurable, sex is a part of life. We're gonna have it. There's a necessity to have sex. We need to procreate, and we need to do that during sex. But these are the dangers. And I feel like, this is just me and my opinion, I feel like it is very important if the government can actually take kids, because there's a high risk of teen pregnancies. If they can take kids in primary school, and they can take learners in high school, both male and female, and actually get permission from the health department to actually take them to visit hospitals and to show them, like, the risk of actually giving birth, what happens in abortion rooms, what happens when women get miscarriages, what happens when women are giving birth, to actually see it live. Because some kids think, oh, my mother is jealous, she doesn't want me to have fun, she doesn't want me to experience life. But when she was my age, she was out here having sex. Just because your mom was having sex at 14, 15, 16, and maybe you were conceived out of a teen pregnancy, that does not mean that it's okay for you to do it. She went through hell doing that. Trust me, she went through hell. It's not easy being pregnant. And I think it's very important for the government to do that for the youth, so that we can prevent teen pregnancies. Because when you actually see what women go through in the delivery room, what women go through when they are losing babies, whether it's through miscarriages or just giving birth to stillborns, watching women go through that struggle of being between life and death, I feel like it will inspire, young ones to actually see, no, I can wait. No, I should use protection. No, I should not exploit women like this. I feel like that education is very, very vital in our society. The girls and the boys, they actually need to be in the room and to see for themselves the dangers of sex. Also, it's not just physical, psychologically, it affects us. Being sexually active will not just affect you physically, it will affect you emotionally, it will affect your psyche, and how you see the world, and how you show up in the world, and how you behave, how your mannerism, how you relate to boys, how you relate to girls. So, and females tend to take as a huge hit in a societal level, because there's a double standards. When boys have sex, or they have sex with multiple girls, they tend to be isbit. He's the cool guy. He can hit and have sex with a couple of girls. He's the boy. He's the man. But if girls tend to do that and they are unaware, they get bashed in society. There's a double standard where they get called names, they get called slurs. You know what I mean? They feel used, they feel disposed. Because they face a much or higher risk. And also, it affects how the people around them see them. Society, because of that, you will not be taken seriously, or she's just a pass around. But if a guy is doing that, he does not get the same treatment that the girl is getting. So those dangers, women need to be aware of them, the girls need to be aware of them, and the boys need to be aware of them. You need to be able to protect yourself, not only on a physical level, but also on a psychological level. What you will go through when you have sex. You know what I mean? There's attachment issues. What is attachment? What is love? What is like? What is lust? We need to be able to deconstruct and search and research, what are those things, what do they mean, what do they entail. Because when you are attached, if you don't know that you are attached, you cannot get yourself out of attachment, because you don't understand what you are actually in for. What is actually keeping you tangled to someone else. And that's on a psychological level. If we were tangled physically, then obviously you would ask for help and know how to detangle yourself. But when you're on a psychological level, that tends to be very, very difficult. And when you are attached to someone, which happens actually when you first have sex with someone, you get to be attached, whether it's a boy or girl. That's why some people say you will never forget your first. You think that you're going to be with that person forever. You think you should be committed, and so forth and so forth. But I've spoken about attachment, so you can go look up my other videos, talking about attachment. So, and last, what is that? Because not all the time when someone wants to have sex with you, they like you. You need to understand that it is actually possible for boys to be sexually attracted to you and not like you. Because I've said that we are biologically wired to actually be sexually attracted to one another. But just because you are sexually attracted to someone, does not mean that there's actually love, that they want to take care of you, that they want to be responsible for you, that they respect you. It might just have the physical intercourse and be done with it. And you will feel used, because most of the time they don't come to you and say, this is just, I'm just using you, because they have a high sex drive. So the casualty, there tends to be a lot, but on the side the girls tend to take a bigger hit than actually the men, because the men are the ones that are pursuing, or the boys are the one that are pursuing, which is why a lot of women tend to be used, sexually in those situations. You need to be aware of this. But we'll go deeper into it later on another video. It is also important to find out actually what you want in life, right? Because that will factor in, on your sexual decisions. Because if you are having sex at a very young age, you get pregnant, it can actually delay you, on your studies. It can delay you on your career, because children are a huge responsibility. You don't get a break from being a parent. You always a parent, unless unfortunately your kid passes away. So you need to understand, okay, where do I want to be in life? What am I interested in? What are your goals? Why are you in school? You want to be a teacher, you want to travel the world, you want to get married. Like, you might not be 100% clear, because as time goes on, people, like, you change. I mean, at a young age I wanted to be a mom. Now I no longer want to be one, because now I'm older, I see how the world is. So you get to change how you view life. But it is very, very important to be clear on what you want, because the sexual decisions you make will affect you and will influence what type of life that you are going to live. And it is very important to be clear what type of life, where do you want to live, how do you want to live, with whom, what are your standards, what you will allow and not allow. Those things will become then your standards, so that you can be able to make responsible sexual decisions. From the guy side and the girl side, because nature has called women to be primarily responsible, to carry the child and to give birth to the child, and also raising up the next generation of people. You know what I mean? Women are softer, women are more nurturing, women are more compassionate, because they can create life. Now, in terms of providing, that role tends to, fall on the man's side, or on the male side. You need to look at even the males, like the male that you are sleeping with, so that you can be selective and not just sleep with just anyone who finds you attractive or say that they like you. So where is he? He's in high school, he's in college. Where is he? What is he doing? What is his background like? Are the parents working? Does he have a good family structure? Are these parents supportive of him emotionally? What if you get pregnant? Will you have a place to live? Because let's face it, some children, they get kicked out of their homes depending on their upbringing, because some parents are very, very conservative. If you were to be kicked out of your house, can this boy take care of you? Can he provide a roof for you? Because he needs to play his part. Not to say that girls can't do that for themselves, but then it tends to be an overload if he runs away or doesn't take care of that. So can he do that? Will he afford to pay diapers? Diapers are expensive every month. Will he afford to buy formula? Can you afford to do that? Those are the things that you need to factor in. You need to think of your studies. Will I have time to study? You're thinking about, pregnancies. Other pregnancies are very difficult. Are you biologically, not even biologically, like physically, are you ready to, to produce a kid? You know what I mean? What challenges are you going to face there? So those are the things that you need to look at, like, or the girls that they need to look at. And these are the type of conversations that we need to have with the girls, because when we are dictating, and with the boys, when we are dictating, like, oh my god, you should never have sex, no, you kids are, you give them names and slurs, that tends to drive them to do that even worse. But when you bring it to them like a human being, when you're having these conversations with them like an actual human being, like, okay, you need to think about your health, you need to think about your lifestyle, the lifestyle that you want, where you want to be tomorrow. You need to think about your finances. Are you able to do this? Because these are the consequences, or these are the ramifications of having sex. And sometimes people get pregnant while they are on contraceptions. I know people getting pregnant while they've been on the needle or they've used a condom, because condoms break. And what do you do if that happens? You know what I mean? So we need to be alert, and we need to be aware, and we need to be comfortable, make it comfortable, for girls to come and talk to the parents about sex, even to the teachers about sex, and not just shun it away and just throw this conversation under the bed as if it's not important. Because there's a huge price to pay, especially for the girls. That's why they need to be very, very, very responsible. Even to the boys, it's not just a girls thing. You need to find a boy. If you're going to sleep with boys, you need to find a boy that feels responsible for you, because if he feels responsible for you, he's going to want to take care of you, he's going to want to care for you, and make sure you don't end up in a situation where your life can be destroyed. So if it's a boy that is nonchalant and does not want to be responsible, it is best not to sleep with that type of boys. So with that being said, we've come to the end of this episode, and I thank you guys. Comment below, what makes you uncomfortable talking about sex. Subscribe, like, and share. Bye.